Hey gamers, welcome back to the channel. Today we're jumping back into King Arthur Legends Rise, and with global launch happening right now or very soon, this is the best time to go over a beginner's guide and share some tips that we've learned through early access, as well as capitalize on some of the experience that we've had over the last couple of years with this game going in and out of beta and early access. There is a ton to go over, so definitely keep an eye on the description where I'm going to put some timestamps to help you out and navigate through the video, but let's get into it. All right, and welcome back. I want to throw a thank you out to a few people who helped me compile this list, some people that I trust to bounce ideas off of as well. Kinesis, Quantum, Neutra, Crazy Caleb, and Kalinchi, all members of either my Discord or my clan. Great group of people, and I appreciate you for the help with this. And then Mustang John, he is a former mod on the official King Arthur Legends Rise Discord until Netmarble took over and got rid of the mods over there. They have not put any more mods in place, but he is a wealth of information and someone I very much trust to bounce ideas off of and get some advice from. So I want to thank you all. Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at a few things. This guide is really meant to be for beginners as well as people who have some time already spent in the game, and share some tips things that we've kind of figured out as we were working through early access, and there's some pretty critical ones here as well. So let's talk about, first and foremost, one of the most important things, and one of the first questions people ask about is, what is the best use for crystals in the game? So your crystals up here, really there's two best uses for them, and one of them is to purchase stamina. So the first two, you're going to get 100 for 50 crystals, and then the next three are 100 for 100 stamina. So you're going to spend another 300 crystals there. I would suggest going for the 500 stamina there if you're free to play. If you invest in the game, or if you have or are sitting on a bunch of crystals, then you can go a little further. It does go up to 200 and much further. So depending on how much you want to spend on it, or if you're spending money on the game, that's an option to continue to get stamina, because in this game, stamina is the true bottleneck. Gold, not so much. You can still farm quite a bit of it. It's not as plentiful as we would like it, but it is sufficient enough to get through what you need to get through. Stamina, however, that is the real bottleneck. Now, the other option for your crystals is to go through your banners, your rate up summons. Reason for this is it's 150 crystals for one, so 1,500 for a 10 pull. That's the exact same as the regular special summon pool. So if you have got a good rate up summon, and coming up on global launch, we're going to have Merlin and Guinevere, both great characters. If you can only go for one or the other, I'd go for Merlin. Merlin, you're going to get more use out of than Guinevere, but they are doing a little bit of a rework on Guinevere, so we'll see what that looks like after the patch and once the game comes back up for global launch. All right, so that is crystals. Let's talk about stamina. So stamina regenerates one every 5 minutes. That's pretty standard when you're looking at games like this. And like I said, it's the biggest issue in this game. Where you want to focus on your story. Get through your main story campaign normal. You're going to get through all the way to chapter 10, 10-7. Focus there. That's where you want your first focus to be. Next is going to be on your dungeons. When you go into your restricted area here, your power-up dungeons specifically. I do have a bunch of videos out for free-to-play teams to put together to get through these dungeons. I'll go ahead and put a link up to it right over here, so you can go ahead and take a look at that. But your first two dungeons are going to be Plane of Beasts, which is going to give you this material here in order to advance your characters. Every 10 levels, you have to advance them so you can get another 10 levels. Getting up to that 7th stage here, that's the earliest that you're going to be able to get to farm these mythic orbs and be able to go beyond 50 and level everybody up to level 60. So that's going to be your first goal, is get to level 7 on Penvid. Next, you're going to want to go as far as you can on Gorgos. I've got some good videos on Gorgos, an advanced team as well as a free-to-play team in that link. But this is where you're going to farm your experience and your gold out of. So definitely focus on that. With as limited as your stamina is, you really want to focus again on that campaign and getting through these first two dungeons. Another thing to keep in mind, so your stamina and your level, as you level, so guys, you can see I'm level 57. If you are like maxed out or close to maxed out on your stamina and you level, you can't go over. So I can't go over 214. So I'm going to lose out on stamina. So make sure to keep your stamina low. Use it as often as possible. And if you're close to your next level, go do some dungeons or parts of the game that use the most stamina so that when you do level, you lose the least amount of stamina as possible. Hopefully that makes sense. Just keep that in mind, and watch your blue bar here and watch your stamina. Always keep that stamina low. You're going to be using it quite a bit. You're going to be burning through levels really quick, really early on, getting through the campaigns and dungeons and things like that. So you're going to level quickly. You're going to have a lot of stamina to begin with, but it's going to be important to manage once you get a little bit further into the game, even just, you know, after the first 4 or 5 days into the game. All right, next, let's talk about your 3-time stamina. So when you go into here, let's just go into Plane of Beasts, and let's just say I'm going to run this, and I want to run it 3 times. That means, so 1 time is 10. Running it 3 times, obviously, is 30. That's going to count as you running this 3 individual times, and it's going to give you the same amount of rewards as if you would have ran it 3 individual times. One thing to keep in mind for that I wanted to call up is when you go into your missions, like Plane of Beasts here, win Plane of Beasts 3 times. If you put it on times 3, you're only going to need to win Plane of Beasts once. Frozen Plains 3 times, just put it at times 3, run it once, you're good. You're going to be running those quite a bit anyway, so they're going to be pretty easy to run through. All right, so that is stamina. So let's talk about summons. Neutra in my clan put this together, and I thought it was a really good look at how many summons you can actually build up throughout the month. And then I broke it out into a weekly thing. So when we take a look at your dailies, if you complete your dailies every single day, you're going to get a special summon. If you complete your weeklies every single week, you're going to get 2 special summons, plus you're going to get this special summon right here. If you complete your monthly, you've got 3 special summons here, as well as a special summon here. Don't know if you're adding that all up yet, but I'll total it up here in just a minute. In your clan, this is where it's important to make sure that you get perfect attendance in your clan. We'll go over that here in a little while as well. If you get perfect attendance, you're going to get a special summon here as well every single day, right? Down here, as the weeks go by, you're going to get this contribution reward track down here. At the end of the reward track is a special summon as well. So if we take a look at your dailies, your clan attendance, your weeklies, your monthly rewards, and this clan reward track, that's 82 summons every single month. Special summons, not rare. I mean, not this stuff here, not this normal. That's special summons here. You're going to be able to do that. That breaks out to 2 summons, 2 10 pulls every single week. You definitely want to make sure that you do all of this stuff. Pay attention to your missions. Do you get your clan rewards, all that stuff, because you're going to be able to build your roster up fairly quickly. So definitely keep that in mind. Also, when you do your summons, always do a 10 pull. It doesn't count here for your normals, but I still always do a 10 pull there. But if you do a 10 pull, it's going to guarantee you a rare. Same with your relics down here. 10 pull, guarantee you a rare. So save up your summons for your 10 pulls so you can get that those rares for free. And then finally, Shard Shop. Down here, very important for characters that you don't have or relics that you don't have. You can go in here and you can use extra shards that you have of characters and relics to get those other characters or relics that you don't have. So like Jillian, I don't have her yet. So if I want to, I can go ahead and spend 5,250 of these, what are they called? Just shard tokens or whatever you want to call them. So that I can purchase her. And you only need 1 copy to purchase her and summon her. Relics, same thing. You can go in here, and you do that through the exchange shards here. So I can exchange these memory stones here or these relic stones here to get currency down here in order to spend on these relics and heroes. Now, for these relics, you do need times 10, but you can see times 10 on all of these. It will allow you to summon that relic here that you don't have. So something to keep in mind there. There's always an opportunity to get heroes outside of the summons, especially when later on in the game, as you've done so many summons and you've accumulated so many shards, it's easier to do. Not so easy to do in the very beginning, but keep an eye on that anyway. All right, so that is summons. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about character progression. There are so many opportunities in this game to progress your characters, not just by progressing the characters and the relics themselves, but also progressing your town and all that. So let's start off first with the character guide. I want to show everybody this power-up guide here. If you click on heroes and you click on what you want to take a look at, it's going to see. So if I want to level up my heroes, here's where I need to go to get my experience potions. If I want to advance them, that's where you have to advance them every 10 levels. Here's where I go to get my orbs here, as well as where I can go and get these fairy stones here, which are required as well. Where do I need to go for awakening? Here's where I need to go for awakening materials. Same with skill up. There's so many things. That's just for heroes. Leveling up, advancing, awakening, skill ups. Same thing for your equipment. Here's where I can go get obtain equipment, and this is obviously where I go to enhance my equipment. Relics, same thing as heroes. Leveling them up, advancing them up, awakening them, skilling them up. There is so much to do in this game as far as character progression. You want to do it in bite-sized chunks. So what does that mean? That means first, focus on your characters that you want to build. We're going to go over that in a minute. Focus on your character level first, and then your relic level right here. Focus on your relic level next. After that, then really start focusing on awakening them, getting your purple stars on both your relics and your heroes. And then also, that's going to bring us into gear. You want to go ahead and get the gear that you need for the different heroes. And I put some videos out. Those guides that I have on the free-to-play teams, I go over the types of gear that would work best on them as well. You want to get them with good stats, and you want to enhance them. You want to get them up to that plus 12 on every single one of them. Now, that takes some time. So what does that mean? I don't suggest going and farming gear. Don't waste your stamina farming too much gear. You really want to go here and farm the materials that you need in order to forge your gear. So I do have a gearing guide as well. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link up to it over here as well. But that's where I go and take a look at the different sets. Some of the sets that are most important to build is your accuracy set. We're going to go over accuracy a little bit later, as well as your vigor set. Those are critical. The other two sets that you're going to use quite a bit, especially for straight damage dealers, is going to be attack and crit. There's also a speed set as well that comes in pretty handy. I look more towards substats for speed than using the speed set, but there are some characters like, I think Tristan you saw has a speed set as well. So some of the other ones you don't really use so much, so I wouldn't waste crafting materials on them, especially when we start taking a look at keepsakes and what you want to start crafting for them. For me specifically, I'm shooting for Immortal. This is for healers. And then I am shooting for Corrosion for my daughters. So those are two that I'm really focused on. And then this focus set for pretty much everybody else right now, just because based on the type of character you have, you get different types of benefits. Unity seems pretty useful as well, but a lot of this stuff we'll figure out once we get a little bit further and deeper into the game. All right. Let's see. Marketplace. Again, another place to get materials you need to progress your characters. This is where you can get talismans, which are important for leveling up your skills for your heroes. You can also get relic breaths out of here as well. That's what's going to help you level up your relics. You can get tomes out of here. That's going to allow you to help level up the skills of your relics. So not only are you leveling up your passives for your characters, which is where this is, but you're using books to level up the skills for your relics as well. So don't forget about the marketplace. You get some good materials out of there as well. Also, leveling your buildings. Make sure to stay up on that. As you level up your buildings, let me just go into market here. And go here, you can see as you level up the market, it increases the total number of items that you have. So once I go to 4, I got 12, going to 5 has 12 as well. So that's the same, I don't get any increase there, but you get additional items. Let's just take a look at my forge over here. I go ahead, I take a look at this. What do I get for the forge? It increases the number of items that I can purchase out of here as well. It gives me more opportunities and more options to choose from. When you go to like the Relic Forge here, and I take a look at upgrading that, this increases the amount of common relic breath that I'm going to get out of this, right? So that continually increases. Plus, you get some nice building upgrades here as well, which is kind of cool. It helps with the aesthetic. I like it when games do that. Your castle here, as you improve your castle, you're going to get more and more resources out of it, lumber and iron. Not to mention, you have the mills and the lumberyard down here that as you increase their level, you get more production out of them as well. And all of that is going to be very helpful as you continue to build up the levels of your buildings to get more resources to build up your castle and use in other areas of the game as well. Finally, I did talk about effect accuracy, something that I want to call out. There's been some confusion out there about effect accuracy, but let's go to my equipment here. And we take a look at effect accuracy right here. I have it at 67%. So when you go to your heroes and you take a look at an ability that says, hey, there's a 50% chance to decrease target's attack gauge by 10%, that doesn't mean that if you hit that 50%, you're going to decrease the target's attack gauge. Or if I go to Rossier over here, if I hit that 30% chance, I'm not going to inflict bleed. That's more like a proc, right? So I have a 30% chance to inflict it or to proc, but that doesn't mean I'm going to automatically land it. Your effect accuracy is what's going to help you land that bleed, because once it procs, once you make that first check, then you have to make it through your opponent's effect resistance percentage. And if you're higher than that, then you're going to go ahead and land that debuff, that bleed, that dot, whatever it is that you're trying to land, you have to make it through your target's effect resistance. So let's just take a look at this. Let's see, I'm gonna go over here, and we take a look at this and go down to effect accuracy. This stat affects the likelihood that a hero successfully applies the effects. Does not affect skills that specify a success rate in the description. What that means is, as we take a look at Rossier here, and we take a look at her bleed, 30% chance. However, once I get this skill up to level 2, it's going to add a 5% chance, another 5%, and another 10%. So this, as you skill up, if there is an option to increase that percentage and you see it in the skill up down here, then that's how you can increase your proc rate or your chance to inflict, right? Again, 2 checks. You have to make it through that first percentage, that proc rate. Then you have to make it through the effect resistance of your opponent. So this can go up to what, 30, 40, 50. This can go up to 50%, and that's it. There's no other way to increase how often it happens. You can just increase the likelihood that your dot, your bleed, or whatever is going to land after that proc. So hopefully that's helpful, and why effect accuracy is so important for like Rossier and Anguish and Tristan and a bunch of other characters that we use to inflict dots or slows or attack gauge decreases, things like that. All right, so let's talk about characters that are free and are banner characters for you to invest in because it is safe. They're great characters to use. So if you go into my heroes over here, this is pretty much it right here. Tristan, you get for free. He's great. He's going to help you with Penvid. He helps me with Tarask as well, which is a little bit further on, and that's how you further awaken your weapons. So you definitely want him. A few things that he does so well, just his S1 here, 80% chance to inflict attack speed decrease 2 for 2 turns. As you increase that, it just increases the damage. He can be a decent damage dealer as well. This attack speed decrease is what you're really using him for. Let's take a look at Morgan. Morgan's next. She's free. You get her with your first 10 pull. She is awesome. She's got a lot of great benefits. If we just take a look at her S1, she has a 40% chance to inflict sleep, so there is an opportunity for crowd control there. If you take a look at her S2, 50% chance to increase the target's attack gauge. Again, effect accuracy is important for her. Even her S3 here, recovery disruption. A lot of these are used for a lot of different battles and dungeons, so she's going to be definitely useful there. If we just take a look at her passives even. If we take a look at this one, when using skill 2, decrease target's attack gauge by 20%, removes 2 buffs from the target as well. That's good for the first dragon. If you take a look at this third passive, just using her skill 1, you get a defense decrease 2 for a turn, plus damage taken increase 3 for 1 turn. So you do more damage to your enemy there as well. She is awesome. She is definitely worth the investment. Let's talk about Kay. Kay, you get really early on. She's a great damage dealer. She's pure damage. A lot of what you're going to use is her S2. This right here, last hit grants critical strike rate increase 2 for 2 turns and critical strike damage increase 1 for 2 turns. That you're going to be able to continue to stack and just do some great damage. So she is definitely worth investing early on as well. And then Turin. Now I have Turin down here quite a ways. I never really used her because I got Sarah pretty early on, so I used her. But Turin you get for free. She's a pretty decent healer. In my opinion, I swap her out for Sarah or Clem right here, Clementine. I do prefer them over Turin. I even prefer them over Isolde, but Isolde has a very good spot in a team for Gorgos as well. You'll find that in those guides that I've put together as well. So those are the free characters. The banner character is Merlin. Now, when global launch hits, we have an option for 2 banners. We went over that just a little bit earlier. We have Guinevere, who's great, and then we have Merlin, who is awesome. If you have to choose between the two, I would go towards Merlin. However, again, Guinevere is going to get a little bit of a rework, so we'll see what that looks like. But Merlin is awesome. He's going to do you well, and will work on multiple teams to get you through multiple game modes. So those are the free and banner characters that you can't go wrong investing in. All right, then dungeon necessities. Characters that you need to get through the dungeons. Free-to-play characters that are easy to get through summons because they're rares and uncommons, and even legendaries that are given to you for free. So we go to a restricted area. We're going to really just focus on power-up dungeon here. Plane of Beasts right here. This is the first dungeon you gain access to. This is where you get materials to help advance your characters. Let's just take a look at Plane of Beasts 7. Let me pull out Merlin here. Morgan goes in that spot. This is the team that I use. You can also swap out Sarah for Clementine. What you really want to focus on and what's important for this boss is the multi-hit. You want to hit the boss with attacks that hit more than once so that you can get his shield down. Once you get that shield down, you can then do more damage. So some good characters here. Obviously, we have Tristan. His S1 is really the key here. 80% chance to inflict that attack speed decrease down. That's going to make his attack gauge increase much slower. Is going to give you an opportunity to also do more attacks than the boss does on you. So you want to do that. You also have K, her S2 here hits multiple times. This is also where your damage is going to come into play for K really early on. So that's super helpful. Additional attacks here as well. You've got Clem. Cool thing with Clem here, this first passive when you're using skill 2, which is her heal, attacks 1 random enemy, so there's an additional attack there on the shield. And then 100% chance to decrease the target's attack gauge by 30%. That is critical. That's 100% chance to proc. You still have to get through the opponent's effect resistance like we were talking about earlier, so that's why effect accuracy is so important. So Clem can go in there and work out very well also. Great team here you're going to use in multiple team configurations. If we take a look at our next dungeon, this is Gorgos. This is where you're going to farm your gold and your experience. If I just go to Burning Land 7. Free-to-play team that I've been using in here that works out really well, you also see in my video, is this team right here. Works out well. I actually pull out her and put in Isolde. You can do either or. Both of them work. Sarah does bigger heals, but Sarah does have an element vulnerability here since she is wind. But Isolde, I've got her at frost, so that's where you have the advantage versus the disadvantage there. Great team. Again, these two here, Anguish and Rossier, those are your daughters. That's where you want to get your vigor sets and your accuracy sets on so you can improve that effect accuracy to land those dots. If you want to know that advanced team I was talking about earlier, you just pull those two out and you throw in Merlin. Merlin, again, coming up in the banner. Very good 3-person team. Works out pretty well. Those videos I was talking about earlier, we'll call that out also. Key with him is you want to get rid of those burns. You want to dispel those burns. So you got Dejaret for dispelling those burns on the free-to-play team, and Morgan, there we go, I just shipped him. Merlin here, the cool thing about him is his S2 here gives frozen remains. This grants dot immunity. So by getting that on your damage dealers, because Anguish is going to do some damage, and you're going to do some damage with Isolde actually as well, you're going to get that dot immunity on them, so they're not going to get dots, and that's really where the damage comes from in Gorgos. All right, next, if we take a look at the bear, this is where you get materials to awaken and level up your relics. Go to Frozen 7. This is the team that I'm using here. What's key here is recovery disruption. This bear is going to go into a hibernated state. As he's hibernating, you want to get that recovery disruption on him, because if not, he's going to wake up and he's going to pretty much regenerate most, if not all, of his health. So some good characters in here. Accolon, really good, rare. You're going to use his S2 here for that recovery disruption right there. So that's where I use him. K, obviously, for the damage. I do use Tristan here as well to manage the attack gauge bar, so I use the S1 there as well to slow that down. And then Sarah, what I do use for Sarah is her S3, which also gives defense as well as a bigger heal. So she does quite a bit of heals there and helps protect your team. So that team does really well also. And then for Tarask, a little bit later, as you continue to work through the campaign, you're going to unlock this, and this is what's going to allow you to further awaken your relics. The team that I'm currently using in here, I've got this guy, another uncommon. What comes into play is his S2. This is where you have a 50% chance to reduce the attack gauge. That's the big thing with this guy. Reduce his attack gauge, make it so he's not attacking so much. So we've got that with him. We've got the attack gauge slowdown with Tristan again. We've got Clementine here, who can reduce that attack gauge as well. And then obviously we have Morgan, who can reduce that attack gauge also. So a lot of great characters. You see a lot of commonalities. You don't have to build a ton of characters to be effective in each one of these dungeons. All right, so that's where I'm going to stop with the power-up dungeons. You've got some other game modes in here, like the equipment dungeons here. Work through those as you can. Make sure as you're looking through these, though, hit this eye. Look at some of the suggested heroes here. Match up who you have. Make sure you read the descriptions for the bosses so that you have an idea of those mechanics and how to overcome them. Some other game modes in here. We got Clan Raids, Forbidden Dungeon. Definitely don't sleep on that. Make sure to run through that. We've only got a few hours left for this season. And then we're going to get paid out on the rewards, and then it's going to refresh. Favorite dungeons here. You want to make sure to go in here and get these materials here that allows you to awaken your relics also. So definitely important to get through those and get as far on those as you can. All right, so that's character progression. That is characters that you want to focus on and invest in. There is a lot there. So let's talk about two final things to focus on. If you're going into clans, make sure you join an active clan, because as we talked about earlier, you complete this reward track for contributions. You get this special summon at the end. You get access to the shop, which is key, because that's the only place you're going to be able to get these weapons for Florentis and Sergius, two new characters, new to early access that were not part of beta. And then as you are in a clan that is active, make sure to hit the clan button down here and go into your clan screen in order to register your attendance, because you do need perfect attendance in order to get this special summon here. I don't like that. I don't like that you need to have perfect attendance. People have lives. I wish that was like maybe, 23 to 25. I think that would be much, much better. We hit it most of the time. We had somebody leave, so that's why it says 24 out of 25. Let's see. Lots of rewards. Let's participate in raids. Raids are key as well. You get a lot of good benefits here. This is really the most competitive piece in this game right now, is raids and your clan ranks, and just fighting for that top spot and getting better and better rewards. Finally, last tip, Alchemy. If you go into your Mage's Tower and you go to Alchemy right here, you have daily perks. This is definitely beneficial to use. Do this for all of this, because you're getting some gold here, which is going to help pay for the money that you're going to spend here. We were talking about resources earlier. You do need resources for Alchemy, so that's where improving your buildings and everything really comes into play also. But you really just, let's see, max that out. That's going to give me 2 of these legendary experience potions. You also get your uncommon and legendary relic breasts in here that you can get on a daily basis. That just helps to continue to progress your roster. So A lot of cool stuff. This game is a blast. I've enjoyed it over the last 2 years. I'm excited that it's finally going into global and everybody can get their hands on it on mobile. Whew, I said that was a lot. So if you made it through to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. A lot of great stuff here. Are there any things that I missed that you would have wanted to know early on in the game? Definitely put them in the comment section below so that everybody benefits. And as always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.